Take your tickets, take your seats. It's time for popcorn. I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm John Bowden.
And tonight we are spoiling the Black Panther. Straight off the bat, as we mentioned, this is popcorn spoilers. This is a no holds barred discussion. We will be talking all the spoilers, everything about this movie, breaking down into all of its parts. So if you don't want any spoilers, be sure to click away now. But if you do, come have a chat with us. We do this every Friday night normally. We see a movie, talk about it, do some spoilers. But today, we have a special edition because we are talking, as we mentioned, the Black Panther. Dylan has decked out accordingly. I've had that on my head about 3 minutes ago. Very difficult to breathe. And I just realized we're also wearing matching shirts, which is lovely. Branding like a motherfucker. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
All
right.
Oh, it's you all along.
It's hot in there. Let's not pussyfoot around. Right, let's get the claws out. Ryan, what did you think of Black Panther?
That was great.
Whoa, great.
Yeah. It's like no surprise. We've talked about this before, but I've... can we put that... Is there a way we can sit in the table?
Well, before we start, let's set the scene. So,
you explain the film.
Black Panther is the 18th, can you believe it, installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's directed by Ryan Coogler of Fruitvale Station and also Creed fame. He's on a steady incline of success, and this is no exception. It stars Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, aka T'Chaka. It's got Angela Bassett as his mother, Forrest Whitaker as one of his consults. It's also got Michael B. Jordan as the villain Killmonger, Lupita Nyong'o as his love interest, Martin Freeman as a CIA agent.
Yep.
I was going to say CSI. And also it has Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claus, amongst many other different actors.
Yeah.
So, back to...
Give you a rundown of what the movie's about?
Okay, sure. So the movie is essentially about...
It's like the gnarliest mask hair.
Oh, thank you.
Hello.
It's about the repercussions of the events that happen in Captain America Civil War, where T'Challa's father T'Chaka was killed in a bombing by Baron Zemo. No, it wasn't Baron Zemo. His name was Zemo, though, his last name.
Wasn't Crossbone there?
Well, it was set up to be from his plan to bring the Avengers apart.
That's true, yeah.
So it was his grand scheme. Crossbones was on the scene, but it was pinned on Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. But essentially his father died in this explosion, and in Wakanda, which is an African country, that's right, African country, hidden from the world, is where T'Chaka's from, and he is the next successor. He's the prince, and he becomes the king, and takes on the mantle of officially being the Black Panther, which is the protector of this land. And it's about his struggles as to what kind of king he wants to be, while in the meantime, Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger is trying to infiltrate Wakanda and run it for himself, and the politics and the interrelationships that kind of lead to the events that happen in the movie. Yeah, I think that explains it pretty well.
We've got a comment already. So from Creed 899 says, never really got a chance to see the movie. Still got time, man. It's just out.
Yeah.
Plenty of time.
Tomorrow.
What are his powers? The cat-like reflexes.
I guess he does. I mean, he's got super strength.
Yep.
Which he derives from this flower, heart-shaped flower.
Yes, that was something really interesting. So not we've got 1,000 times. I'm a DC guy. I'm not a Marvel guy. So it's all brand new to me, and that's what's fun about it. Is so seeing that he gains his power from essentially like an elixir. Like there's a plant that's found in Wakanda, crush it up, make it into a drink, and that's where the power of the Black Panther comes from.
Which gives him super strength, super speed, agility, healing powers as well.
Yeah, some mild healing powers as well.
But then he also derives his powers from his technology as well. So his catsuit has like claws, it's bulletproof.
Made of vibranium. They talk a lot about in this movie.
In this particular movie, he's got the upgraded version where it can kind of like nanotechnology.
Where it absorbs kinetic energy, so when you punch him, it absorbs that power. Really cool concept. But anyway,
didn't quite establish how he uses it though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how he makes it into do things.
You build it up and then you punch or something. Like he jumped in front of a car and it just came out of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. But yeah, so we'll kick it off. What I think, I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. For me, it came from a place of I am burnt out with Marvel films. But they said 18 of them. 18 of them. Like, I'm so burnt out that I'm still yet to see Thor Ragnarok. Because I'm done. I was like, I'm done. They're not repeating themselves, but they're the same, but they're different. And to me, from what I saw, Ragnarok looked like another Guardians of the Galaxy that I didn't really want. Knowing, people say it's probably one of the best Marvel movies.
Funniest.
The funniest, and I love humans. I love a good laugh. But what I found with the Black Panther is it's given me it's given Marvel in the push the Guardians did. After so many movies, it was kind of like it hadn't lost its luster, but people were like, okay, what's next? What's new? Give me something new out of Marvel. And then in the second wave, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, and that just gave that big fucking oomph, and everyone's like, no, we're it literally opened a whole new universe, and everyone's a new jump back in. Everyone re-hypes everyone back up.
Definitely.
And I think because this movie is so different, and there's no Cap in there, there's no Thor, there's no Iron Man, there's no one from the outside Avengers or the outside Marvel universe. It can tell its own contained story that just lets you know about T'Challa as the character and what his world entails in Wakanda. And just like Guardians, it's a self-contained side story that does benefit the overall story by the end.
Interesting take. Do you think that you'd need to see Captain America: Civil War to understand what's going on in Black Panther?
Yes, initially to sort
of
vaguely to sort of understand the power of when he's them going to that building and then getting taken out. Like when they went there, was it good reasons? It was the
what building?
Why'd they go there in Civil War? What was it? The
Sokovia.
The Sokovia Accord or whatever the hell it's called, right?
No. Yes,
but no. Yes. Whatever the thing that was, they go there. So like they've come out for a reason. You know what I mean? And then by them doing that's a huge gesture, and then showing that it got fucked.
Well, that kind of comes up more to the end of the movie. But I think you could go in and watch the movie and not have seen anything else.
Oh yeah,
like it's got Martin Freeman.
You're not going to miss a lot.
Yeah,
by
it's got Andy Serkis in it. It's got Chadwick Boseman in it. All those characters come back. His father comes back as well. Now, I don't remember him having a glass eye.
No, I don't remember it either.
Has he lost his eye since?
Probably.
That seems to be the case. Unless it's a different actor. He looked very familiar, like similar to the other actor they had.
I think it may be a different actor. So, because looking at his, like, I've done a lot of work for like Vision Australia and stuff. So I've seen many glass eyes. So the reason it's kind of all slanted is because the eye socket's actually lost a lot of shape after. If you don't have eyes and the muscles in there to keep it. So
it's been a while that he didn't have an eye?
Yes, he's not had an eye for a while.
Okay.
So if it was the same actor, we would likely have noticed.
Yeah, it's only been a couple of years. Black Panther was good fun. I think what really made it good is, as always, there's a little something that makes these Marvel characters endure. It's something different. I mean, it is a superhero movie, and they do have a villain, and then they set up a plan, and they got to destroy the world, and it's got to be, unfortunately, like in this one, it has to be global proportions of threat.
You can't have once the Avengers happen, you can't have a small threat.
Ant-Man did. Both literally and figuratively. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like it gets to global proportions. But what made this one good and so different is that it's more about the interpersonal relationships. And the thing I was worried about is that there's so many different characters that you'd get lost or the characters wouldn't get a chance to do anything. Like there's Black Panther himself, there's his sister, there's his girlfriend, there's his mother, there's his uncle, there's his friend, there's the villain's second in command.
A lot of establishing in this.
Yeah, then there's the CIA. Like there's a lot of characters to keep track of, and yet it does it really well. And another thing is it's always set up and payoff. Like everything that they set up at the start that doesn't even seem significant comes back later. Like the kind of 8 people, they come back at the end.
So there's different tribes. So there's 5 tribes in Wakanda. 4 of them combined together to make the Wakanda as they know it and as we see it. There is a 5th tribe that go and live in the mountains, and by the looks of it, each tribe has their own sort of sigil, I guess, which for Wakanda, as majority, it's the Black Panther. For these guys in the mountains, it's a gorilla. Yeah. And like they are intimidating.
The character was named Man-Ape in the comics, but they found it too racist or inconsiderate to put in the movie. So they're glad they didn't use that.
So they named him John.
But yeah, even each tribe has a color. Like there was the green tribe where they had the big ear inserts and the big lip. There were like blue people, there were like red people, so that you can kind of tell the differences between the different tribes and the
like
representatives.
how they dressed and how they looked. Like
Exactly.
I love, like I said, I love there's a gentleman, small, skinny, thin dude with the big lip disc, but it was green. It was match his suit and it had the same patterns on it.
Fashion.
Very clever. Creed asks, have you guys watched Baby Driver? I have not. Dylan has. He talks about it in his best movies of the year. So when we're done here, if you want, you certainly go look back at the playlist for Popcorn Spoilers and find all your thoughts about Baby Driver there.
That's true. I did enjoy Baby Driver. But the thing that it does really well, not only is it world building in the sense that you get the entire idea of how Wakanda works, it's very political in a sense, which is usually something that like Mooresville, but you kind of get a sense of exactly how you don't even get their economy. That was the only thing that was missing, but it seemed like a pretty free country where everybody kind of just chills. But you got a sense of like how the king rules, how he's got his consultants, how he's got his council, then the way that they're mining the vibranium there, the way that it invents a brand new city structure, the way the different buildings are kind of like half trees, half building, especially in the kind of 8 mountains where it had like his throne room and it had all the wood. It was a very wooden kind of place. That looked very natural and cool.
Because earlier in the movie they established that the gorilla tribe are very much more the down to earth. Like as in they don't want the technology that vibranium has created for them.
But yeah, like at the start, it starts with like a fairy tale kind of thing, like an old African story. Your son's telling him a story.
Yeah, you literally leaned over to me and was like,
yeah, like everything the light touches will be yours. And it starts with like the grains of sand that build the story and and usually that's used in other movies, like Hellboy is a similar kind of thing where it's like shorthand to explain what's going on, but it's also like in a way that he's telling it to his son, like a fairy tale story, which worked well, and you get the sense of how Wakanda has worked in history, and in like the first 3 minutes you get a sense of that. Then it jumps ahead to 1992, California, and then you get that scene.
Right? Back to 1992 and then present day?
I don't know. Always your kid telling you. You don't know it's father-son, but you assume that's him. And it sets in 1992 and you get a sense of that time and the things that happen there that again pay off later on, You're just kind of taking everything in. And nothing really... Like there was never a time when I was like, I know what's going on, but there was never a time where I was lost. It was just kind of following how it was playing out.
And one thing I really liked as well, because when you talk about like the opening of a movie, giving you 3 minutes to explain where it's at and what it is, it makes me think of Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. Like that movie has a surprisingly good 3-minute take of this is the Green Lantern Corps, this is Owa, this is what they do, blah blah blah, and then the movie spends the next 20 minutes explaining what they just told you.
Yeah, it does do it a couple of times.
Yeah, but in this one, it's not the case. It goes, boom, here's the 3 minutes. This is sort of the real small established stuff. This is where we're at. Moving on forward.
Exactly.
And Chris Conway's back. How are you, Chris? Creed 8999 says, does anyone important die in this movie? Depends what you define important.
Yeah.
But if you're talking like Avengers and main character important, no.
No.
But there are deaths. Yes. We'll get to them.
And implied deaths.
Yes.
So I think the biggest thing about this is the world building and the characters. Like his sister's really funny and awesome and cool.
His sister was fantastic.
And they got that brother-sister dynamic. I love that.
What I found about this movie, there's a couple characters that just ooze cool.
Yeah.
And like she just oozes cool. Same as like Michael B. Jordan, which we'll get to soon. But like she's just cool. Like everyone's kind of like all majestic's the wrong word, but everyone's kind of like royalty and like and like
traditional.
Even T'Challa, is it T'Challa?
T'Chaka.
My apologies. T'Chaka is sort of like, he's kind of fun, but he's kind of knows his role and knows his place. And she's like, "What up, just doing cool shit." And
like sneakers for sneaking. Yeah, she's like, or like filming on his thing. Like delete that. The brother sister bond that they've got.
It was really
jealousy.
Good. I think they were fantastic.
That's awesome. His mother. She kind of did motherly things, just kind of filled her role. Angela Bassett had the grey hair, the grey dreads.
The grey dreads were great.
I always thought she'd be a great Storm, but then they cast Halle Berry. But she was in Green Lantern as well. Forrest Whitaker. I didn't really see him in the promotional materials till much later in the movie.
Yeah, they fixed his eye in some promo art. And I was like,
I think Whitaker was the last name of the actor that played the younger version of him. I think it might have been his son. Oh, because they had similar eyes. I mean, obviously he's got a lazy eye, but yeah. So Forrest Whitaker. He was in it, not much.
Yeah, I think he played like an important role, which you find out in the end.
He's kind of like the wise sage kind of.
Yeah, he's like
character.
he's like the apothecary. He's there and he's the.
Whoa! Don't be saying things like that on this. We don't support that at all.
Yeah, he's sort of there to be like this. He's like
He's a good guy.
like a high priest sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis was awesome.
Andy Serkis was fantastic.
He's good
in
as South
this.
African accent. I like the part where he was like, he said, like Martin Freeman from The Hobbit as well.
Yeah.
Was making like some smart ass comment like, oh, you know, let me listen to your music sometime because they look like a boy band.
Yeah, so they walk into this place in Korea. And he's
Casino.
like, man, you have like you got a full entourage. You know, release an album anytime soon. He's like, yeah, I am. Hey, can you give him the SoundCloud?
Yeah,
link? And he's like, I don't want to listen to him.
Yes, you can. I'll send you the SoundCloud sometime. Dave, can you send him the link to the SoundCloud? Like he was legit that he had music that he wants to listen to. He's like, I don't want to listen. And then he was like threateningly rubbing his shoulder, and Martin Freeman was just like taking. He's like, all right, that's enough now. That's enough. But yeah, Claw was cool.
He had this energy and like this fun to him. So like in terms of a villain, like he's just doing it for be crazy.
Yeah.
His arm was weird and like some weird uncanny valley shit.
Well, it was like prosthetic, but he could move it, and then it had like lines
a big gun inside it. So
it
would separate open, and there was a big gun inside.
But he was like, what was he saying? He's like, when he was running outside, he's like, "That's awesome!
So
that's
like,
awesome!"
in the Korean casino that we just mentioned, like shit goes down, and it is an incredible fight scene.
And that was impressive. There was like one shot, especially with the general.
Yeah.
I don't know her character's name, but she's got the bald head, and she's the female general.
As well.
Just the way that she's fighting up on the like. There's one shot where it goes up on the balcony. There's like a balcony around the top, and then there's the casino tables on the thing with poker and everything, baccarat, and she's fighting up there with a stick, kicking out like three people,
through the railing.
Jumps down, CGI, but lands on the ground. Shot continues. It's got his girlfriend fighting as well. Then it goes to him fighting, and then I think it's even still all the same shot when he jumps up on the balcony.
Yeah, so it's not
and he blows him down.
It's not a real one shot. It's an edited one shot.
But it looks impressive.
But it looked really cool. Like very cool.
Very cool.
But yeah, so after all this shit goes down, they manage to escape. Like Ulysses managed to escape. And he's like, "That was fucking awesome. That was so much fun. Let's go. And as they're driving away, they're like, "It's not a funeral in here. Play some music." It's like great music for the train.
He's just like a normal person. He's like, "This is awesome. I'm getting off the thrill.
I'm having fun. Yeah. This is crazy." And his accent is hysterical. Like,
but even the opening, his opening scene where they go into the museum, and again to Michael B. Jordan, that scene in the museum was really cool. And then he comes in and he like tells the guy to run away, and then they
was established. So Michael B. Jordan is in a museum. You can see, I think the shot's in the trailer.
Yeah.
And he's talking to the person that runs that particular department of the museum. That exhibit. They're going, oh, what's this from? Oh, that's 17th century, blah blah blah. Oh, that's 8th century, blah 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 blah. And then he goes, what's this? He goes, oh, that's blah blah blah. He's like, no, that's Wakanda. Like, whatever. She's like, what are you talking about? That's kind of crazy. And then idea of like, yeah, you've had security watching me this whole time. And like, one thing you didn't do, you didn't look at your drink coffee, and she fucking dies.
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh my god, get an ambulance. And sure enough, Ulysses Claw and his associates are outside. They're like, all right, fucking A. Run in with the cart. And they're like, oh no, let's get clear the room, clear. And just shoots all the guards. And then one guard's left, he's like, hey.
Yeah, I'm going to let you go.
I'm going to let you go. You're cool.
Yeah.
But don't tell anyone, all right? All right, go, cheers. And then he leaves and like, boom, blows him out from behind. Beautiful.
And he's just got like such a presence to him, like this manic presence to him. He's singing "What Is Love" by Hathaway.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about. Maybe it was improvised. But he did have the CGI missing arm.
There is a point where he loses his arm, and they've clearly put like a green sleeve on him.
Yeah.
And because it's his shoulder is really quite stiff. However, there's angles later that sort of show off that.
Well, he's got a stump. Essentially.
Yeah, the stump is to the bottom of his shirt. So
but when he's running around and like the camera's falling around, that looks pretty cool. But when he was just kind of sitting there in interview mode, it was a bit awkward.
It looked very much like there's a green hand there.
Yeah, but all right, let's talk about Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger.
He was really cool. Talk about another dude that just oozes cool. And
well, that's Michael B. Jordan. He's just like an awesome guy.
Yeah, and he's tank as shit.
Yeah.
Like, because he's like wearing like a lot of loose clothes and stuff, and then when they return to Okoye.
Yeah, that's a character. It's not going to help.
Not helping. So he's wearing a lot of sort of loose-fitting clothes. He's wearing this sort of like armored vest sort of thing. So then when he returns to Wakanda to challenge,
spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. To challenge for the throne, he takes his gear off, you're like, he's just a ripped dude.
And he's got like the raised kind of skin.
Yeah, so the little
like beads underneath that rises skin, and every single
little
one is
scars.
And they're kind of like, especially in the way the movie plays out, but even in his just dossier where they're like looking at his credentials, you kind of get the sense of the character through that. Like he was like military and he fought in wars, but he took pride and he said he killed more kills in a video game.
Like black, not Black Ops, but like,
but
he would be the guy that would go in and take out the dudes.
But like ridiculous kills, and then he did go into like Black Ops or Mercenary, where he would overthrow governments, and his specialty was to go in and overthrow the government, which is exactly what he does in the movie, where he gets into there, changes everything. Now, the idea at least is that Michael B. Jordan comes to Wakanda, offers, spoilers, dead Ulysses Claw.
There you go, Creed. That's the death we're talking about. Ulysses Claw gets taken out, and I'm bummed about it. I thought it was a great character.
He's gone.
He's out.
But in the tradition of Wakanda, the king must renounce the powers of the Black Panther, and then he's challenged to whoever wants to be king. And in the movie,
whether it be other tribes, whether
anyone.
it be blood relatives, anyone can fight him to take the throne.
Yeah, which is not the greatest way of running a country.
No.
Do they do that in Britain?
I don't believe so.
Should.
Hey, they do it here in Australia, though.
Oh, okay.
Should have seen the Malcolm Turnbull, Tony Abbott beatdown.
Man,
it was nuts.
Rudd put up a fight, but he lost. to
a woman.
A ginger.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he is challenged by the man-ape guy, the Ape King, and he spares his life because it's either fight to the death or before they yield.
Yeah.
And he's like, your people need you, yield. And he does. And then later, Michael B. Jordan turns up, challenges him to a fight, wins,
kicks the shit out of him, throws him off,
takes over, and then it's an interesting thing where are you loyal to the country or the throne, or are you loyal to the person? It becomes Game of Thrones, you know what I mean? Like, where do your loyalties lie? And the other big thing about the movie is again, it's the Spider-Man. It's great power comes great responsibility. If you've got wealth and you've got power, what good is it if you just keep it for yourself?
Yeah.
And is he a good king in looking after his country? And like, this is his people, his responsibility? Or is he someone like in modern day, like, do you take the war to other countries and fight wars on their behalf, or enforce your beliefs on those countries?
So we should establish, where they're coming from is Wakanda is self-isolated, as in it's not visible to the outside world, and as a result, they've kept everything within them, whether it be their economy, whether it be their resource, whether it be their knowledge, everything has stayed within their little...
Medical prowess.
Everything. So the big sort of battle throughout is, well, what do we do? Like, this was one of the first things at the start of the movie where they're like, we need to spread some of this shit out because the outside world sucks.
And that's where Michael B. Jordan comes from. He's like, the African people have been oppressed for so long that, we've never had the resources to overthrow the governments or overthrow the people. So what we now going to do is dish out these weapons to the world, to my people in London and New York and all these main points of the world, to kind of overthrow the government and start it the Wakandan way, which he has a good point, like to an extent, and that's what makes him a good villain. That you can understand. That's exactly
what makes an incredible villain. That something's relatable, like a villain that's like, I'm evil, I'm gonna do evil things, is never good. But like, if you can find a villain that has a relatable cause, that they think they are doing the right thing, they believe that they are doing the right thing,
or they come from a place.
And Pinch is here too. Hey, all just arrived home from seeing it too. You can join the conversation.
Yeah, get in there. But yeah, you can understand where they're coming from. And so in a sense, he has the right way. The same way that his father didn't believe, and followed the tradition of like, we need to look after our people. It's not our place to do that. People use our things for evil and we can't control it. To T'Chaka's idea of like, I can see the idea between both of them, but there's a right way to do it and we're not doing it the right way. So that's cool as well. What did you think of the action? Now, one thing you interestingly said, I think when we were talking about the trailer, is that it feels like another doppelganger villain. So you've got Black Panther, and then he's also got Black Panther powers.
Yes. But I think in this movie, they establish why he has those powers.
Yes.
Because it's like, spoilers, when T'Chaka...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. So when T'Chaka gets dethroned, the power of the Black Panther is to whoever's leading Wakanda. So he's the leader at that point. So he has his own Black Panther suit,
which was the gold one that he didn't choose.
Yes, and
which is cool.
And that's what I love about it. Is because like with like Ant-Man as an example, he's like, I'm gonna have the yellow jacket one. It was one shot, but an edited one shot. It wasn't an exact one shot. There were some clear cut points, clear like CG points. You know, like the yellow jacket's like, I want the same technology. You know, because he has it. You know, and then the Hulk like, versus the Abomination, it's just a bigger Hulk.
Or the
Iron Man 1 and 2
versus Whiplash, same thing.
You know what I mean? It's just more of, it's just the opposite of the same of the hero.
And sometimes that works. Like they tried to do it in Spider-Man 3, the duality of him, like the good, like more so in the behind the scenes, but like the idea that Peter Parker and Eddie Brock could be the same person, but Peter Parker was loved, Eddie Brock wasn't, and they got the same set of powers, but they come from different perspectives. It's that idea, and I think that works in this one.
Yes.
You know, and you get the idea that they have the same power set, so you kind of get an idea of what they can do.
Well, because they've both consumed the plants, they both have the same Black Panther abilities, they both have the same suit with the same kinetic storage and regenerative powers and all that sort of stuff.
One of my gripes was in the trailer that what they showed, which is not very much. I think I only watched the first 2 trailers, but a lot of the movie isn't in the trailers, which is great.
Fantastic.
And again, like Wakanda's kept a secret in the trailers. You don't see the extent of it. Is that they, in Captain America Civil War, there was that road chase where he was chasing them down on top of cars and Captain America was running and the Winter Soldier was on a motorcycle. And then the trailer shows the big action scene as another chase through South Korea on cars and he's jumping from cars. And I'm like, are we going to do this again? But that turned out pretty well.
T'Chaka was the previous king of Wakanda. Chadwick's character is actually T'Challa.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much. Yes, we do appreciate the update.
I believe it's pronounced T'Challa. But, sorry, T'Challa. But yeah, T'Challa is on the cars, and it's like, are we doing this again? But that was pretty good action scene.
And I remember when we first saw that trailer, I was like, oh man, that looks kind of really CG. Like it looked like an animated person flipping in the air because it did hit that weird sort of uncanny valley of like a person doesn't move like that.
Daredevil.
Yeah, like Daredevil over again, but this is certainly better than the Daredevil's graphics.
But then again, there was the opening scene of the movie, the opening action scene where he fights like the convoy, and that was in the dark as well.
That was well shot. I think it was using a lot of the gunfire to be the lighting, so you're only seeing the quick movement. So the benefit of like a strobe effect is it does make them seem a lot faster than they actually.
Well, that's the thing. Like his powers, like he doesn't really do anything too impressive. And I'm not talking about the powers that he has, just the way that he uses. Like Captain America, they always find new ways for him to use his shield. Spider-Man's always doing cool new things. He's just kind of like punching people and kicking people and does a couple of grips and rolls. I mean, I heard that they tried to use like a lot of like actual African martial arts and put that into there.
Because like, you know, looking at when T'Challa fights the big ape man, like he's got him in an armbar. Like that's MMA shit. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they probably get Cable there.
Yeah. Well, true.
But yeah, I felt that was and it has it suffers the Spider-Man, and they don't do it. It suffers the Spider-Man route of he's always wearing a mask, so every 5 seconds his mask will come off, and then you get a reaction, and then his mask goes back on, like constantly. Where Spider-Man always finds ways to take his mask off.
There was a point where they removed the eyes.
And I didn't like that.
No, but you can get more emotion out of the eye. Like it happened very infrequently.
Yeah,
his mask come off a lot more than the eye. But I think you probably could have got away with just the eye, and then they could have seen a little bit of emotion. Try back down again.
But and the same with Michael B. Jordan. Once he gets the Black Panther suit, it's constantly the mask off, mask on. Iron Man, he doesn't take the mask off, but where they have the bonus is they have the inside, so you can see his reactions. So I get why they do it, but it just takes away from. It's constantly like, why even take it off? Keep it on.
But I think it does also
keep it off. One or the other.
It does also play with this movie not being the Black Panther story. It is the T'Challa story.
It's the Wakanda story.
Yeah. In the same way that like the Dark Knight is really a Bruce Wayne story. You know, because that's how Nolan approached the Dark Knight trilogy as Bruce Wayne's story from here to here, not Batman. Batman was auxiliary, you know, it was kind of extra.
Especially in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, especially in The Dark Knight Rises. It takes so long to get in that damn suit. Where this is like he's in the suit, but it's not like in the same way Captain America is like, hey, it's Captain America, do Captain America things. It's like, okay, cool, you're telling this guy's story.
But that's the cool thing.
There's Black Panther.
I don't know if it's a difference between DC and Marvel. Like, Batman's got a cool story, but you know, when Bruce Wayne's around, you're like, get to the Batman stuff.
Because the big difference I think here is, especially with Batman, the way Batman is portrayed is Bruce Wayne is the facade, Batman is really him. So we see the real Bruce Wayne, or when he's Batman.
When he's Batman.
But here, we're seeing T'Challa being T'Challa, and then he puts the mask on.
Well, it's the same thing. Like Iron Man, Tony Stark is the interesting character.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
Maybe it's a Marvel thing.
Yeah, I think that's what they do. They focus on the characters more. Like, you think about Green Lantern, like, okay, Hal Jordan's a cocky dickhead pilot, and then he learns responsibility. And then what?
It's also an ass movie, so
you know what I mean? But even the character. But, you get the idea. That's why they keep replacing him. Like, let's have a new Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's where, like, John Stewart and all that sort of came from, because Hal Jordan's garbage.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that's what makes it good. And it is, like you said, Wakanda, T'Challa, first and foremost. And it's good to see his conflict that he has. Chadwick Boseman's really good in the character.
Fantastic.
The accents, did you like the African accents?
This is one thing that sort of it caught my interest. So I had recently, it was like a year ago now, but like a year ago I saw the Book of Mormon. I love the Book of Mormon. Now, in part of that play, they do go to Uganda, I believe. Like, that's where they're missionaries that go to Uganda.
Sure.
So all the characters had very similar accents to what they had in Black Panther. And a lot of the music in Book of Mormon was very similar to the music in Black Panther. Now, here I was thinking that the Book of Mormon was actually just a big satire piece. And they're giving them accents, and they're playing music that you think would be associated with African nations. Maybe Book of Mormon did a better job at like being more authentic.
Whoa.
No, as in because I thought they were mocking, but they were actually close to thing. So the only downside to that is the whole time there's this cool like African beat going on, and I'm not taking in the whole like Black Panther-ness. I'm thinking of Book of Mormon. So I'm like, yeah, Joseph Smith, don't fuck the baby, and I was like taking that's part of the play. It's fucking funny. And then like Joseph Smith, gotta fight the clitoris man. Like, so there's these big fights with this good African beats behind them, and all I'm thinking about is the Book of Mormon. So that's the point I'm making. Is like, it was good, loved it, but my brain went elsewhere.
You kept getting distracted.
I kept getting distracted.
Getting in the beat. There's another character.
Pinch says, I saw the Book of Mormon the other week, and I noticed it too. Thank you, Pinch. I'm not crazy.
So there's another character who's like his friend that rears rhinos.
So he's like, I think he's like their not man of war. What's it called? Like Sergeant at Arms.
Okay, but his name's
he
David.
Fronts the army.
Oh, I forget his name. Kayala. He's in Get Out, which we'll see when we do the Academy Award movies. 2 weeks. Which is an incredible movie in Get Out, and he's really good in it. But then watching this, he's got this like sus look all the time. I thought it was just him being suspicious in Get Out. I think that's his acting face. So he's just kind of like, he's always kind of like shifty. But then there's like a full-on rhino fight, like 3 rhinos in battle armor, like Dino Rider style, just smashing shit up.
Steps to the start. He's like, hey, these rhinos, are they fully grown yet? No, not yet.
Yeah, I'm like, what's this? But the
Daniel Kaluuya, like the drink.
Kaluuya, thank you very much, Daniel Kaluuya. But the way, and it's weird because there's a part where T'Challa goes off missing, and he comes back, right? And his way of coming back and surprising everybody,
fucking up a ship.
He blows up a ship. Isn't there a Wakandan flying that? Like, yes, the king has taken over, and yes, they're conflicted between he's the king, but he's an evil dick, but we need to follow it. And then Black Panther's like, all right, my people are fine. This guy's a dick. I'm going to kill that pilot, prove a point. And then the people fight, and you think it's going to be like in the morning, they're going to be so embarrassed. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry about everything that went down.
I followed my orders.
Yeah, like
I did what I was told.
Yeah, and now I've killed a lot of people. I feel bad about it.
The army is drastically reduced.
Like, you should have been like, called the people to arms. But the opposite, and be like, don't fight each other. Like, they're friends. They're like fellow warriors, again, fellow tribesmen.
As you mentioned, like, it throttles that line of, do I fight for country or do I,
Yeah. But I wish there was more conflict there, because they just went straight into it. They're like, because they're warriors trained to fight, but if there's no outside threats, what are they doing all day? Like, they've never had a fight.
Point could be said for the Amazonians in Wonder Woman. They're like, we hide in this little place here. Oh, fuck, that's really similar too. Yeah, they hide in their, Themyscira. Yeah. They're like, we're a warrior race that fights no one.
I guess they like catch animals or hunt animals that would keep their skills up. But yeah, I guess that's right. But then, you know what I mean? Like, and they blew up a lot of ships. Like,
and
you're
they
killing your own people. Like,
they
call them
clearly
back.
are more open to wandering out of the bubble than like in the Amazonian.
Yeah, it's true.
So.
But, especially when they send Martin Freeman off as a pilot to go and shoot these ships down, I'm like, can't you just, like, disarm them? You got technology. Like, don't kill your fellow people. That's a rough day. But yeah, let's talk about Everett Scott, I think his name is. Yeah, Martin Freeman. So he returns from Civil War. American accent that
really
he's got.
throws me without that American accent though, because I know Martin Freeman from like Ali G, from The Office, from like
The
Hobbit, and like I know his British accent, and I was like, oh,
it's a weird choice to have him do that, but he's cool. I like him in it, and I especially liked him as a character where he's like, oh god, like just get out of here. I don't want to have to deal with this.
So
he's very honest kind of guy.
So with that Korea scene with the casino, like he is the person that's meeting Ulysses Claw. The whole it's not a setup.
Buy the Wakandan
To buy the
vibranium that they stole from the museum.
So there's a moment where he looks over and sees T'Challa. He's like, oh fuck. Hey, like we're here doing a thing. This is a sting. Like this is not like it's not a suspicious deal. We're here for a fuck. Oh god damn it. And then shit gets crazy.
Yeah, but he's obviously the perspective of the outsider to look at the world of Wakanda and be like, whoa. But also the voice of reason at times. But he's one of those characters that does things that you should do in a movie, not stupid things where they withhold information and Star Wars The Last Jedi yet. Like he is like, this is what we know, this is what you know, is this true, is this wrong? Like he is legitimately like a cool character where he's just like sitting down, let's hear it as it is, tell me the facts, I'll make a decision based on that, I'll ask the right questions. And he's awesome. And then he gets his moment to shine at the end. Yep. And I really like the tension of the scene and the bravery shown by him where he's in this simulator. So at the start of the movie, his sister...
Oh, small touch. The sister says, I've made an American plane for you.
Yeah, that's right. So she, at the start of the movie during the chase, she's the Q to his James Bond. She's got all the gadgets. So there's a part where they have a car that's automatically driven and it's driving in South Korea with Black Panther on it, but she's back at the base in like a virtual simulator kind of version of it, driving the car. And it made that scene better because it's got their back and forth. Yeah. She was a part of it, which was cool. So at the end of the movie, when the ship's taking vibranium to other countries to destroy the world, Martin Freeman, who's an ex-pilot, she gets him in a pilot version of the simulator to stop these planes. But then they come to the physical simulation room where he is, and they start shooting at the wall. And the Jarvis or whatever it might be is like the whole breach has 70% shield left, or 70% structure integrity. And so when he gets to 50, the simulation stops. He's like, get out of here, you're gonna die. And he's like, how much have I got? It's like 50%. And he's like, get me back in.
He's like, how long have I got? Like, oh, I bet this month.
And like I thought he was gonna die when it blew up. And I was like, that would be a badass way to go out. But he didn't. Spoilers. But that was cool. I really, really liked that tension that it had and the bravery that he showed in that moment.
Yeah, very cool.
Again, stupid. Because in the comic books, Scott is like an ally to Black Panther and kind of came late into it, like in, I think, the 90s even, where he was, again, that kind of voice of reason. And for the majority of, Caucasian readers, which are, pretty much Marvel's kind of... Cool. Well, not really, but you know what I mean, like the core audience. And then they got these niche kind of characters that they try and get the different kind of cultural interests. So he was kind of like the white man's version of it to kind of give them their perspective and give them a jump in for people who aren't, of that culture to get into that kind of comic book. But in this, he's kind of used as like the enemy, but then becomes the friend. So I assume like at the end they're going to use him as like the United Nations kind of liaison between the outside world and Wakanda, which is cool.
Do you want to talk about that? Talk about the end?
But I just want to jump in.
Oh, yes.
They could have left him unconscious. He gets shot in the spine, so they take him on a 9-hour flight to Wakanda.
Like he's going to die soon. That's take an 8-hour flight.
So they stick a ball in his back, a ball bearing. But yeah, they could have just left him like sedated. You know what I mean? Like,
I like they didn't though.
They could have mentioned it and just been like, "Should we sedate him?" No, he's a good person. He'll understand. Didn't. But then shit was going down anyway. Okay. Let's talk about the post-credit scene.
There are 2 post-credit scenes in this film. The first one is T'Challa addressing the UN and a not so on the nose comment on society.
Whoa. So he says we could all be brothers and sisters of the world and share things
we
amongst
learn more
ourselves.
as being together rather than putting up borders.
That's right. That's what wars bring people together, but they also tear people apart. And so rather than putting up barriers, we can build bridges. And that was a really good speech.
It was a really good speech, and I think it did have a good place. It sort of fits the movie itself, and yes, as it did have that social commentary to it as well, which we'll get to on Friday when we talk about the post.
Crotchety old man's like, "What's in it for me?"
Like, oh, fuck you, old man.
And they're like, "I'm not gonna tell you. He's out. Get him out, wherever you're from." So that sets up the future of Wakanda, which is different. How are they going to do it?
And how Wakanda will deal with the world, which makes sense because as we're shifting towards the Infinity War and the arrival of Thanos and his army, or I assume he has an army, they're going to need those weaponry, man. They're going to need that weaponry.
Well, like, how does it work though? Like the way they establish it is he's got like he was buying these buildings to kind of set up a shop front, a little...
Yeah, because obviously we come to learn that there are... refugees is the wrong word, but there are Wakandans scattered around the world. They're not just in Wakanda. There's some out and about, and they're living a tough life.
No, I don't think that was it at
That's
all.
how I took it. Yeah. So what they've done is they've created the Wakanda outreach area.
I think it was just like an outreach area to help people.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like
just help
introduce them to Wakanda.
Those lower socioeconomic areas.
Yeah,
okay, I like that better.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, and that they'd bring people in to say, "This is the technology. This is the science we have. This is the resources we have." Bring people in the community in to learn the culture and build a bridge.
Yeah, and benefit those lower areas. Yeah.
If all that healing technology comes out, the world's completely different. You know what I mean? Like, you can get shot and you won't die. Like, nobody will die. They can't take the Marvel Universe to that level of ridiculousness. So what is it like? They just give a little bit of technology? Yeah, it's either everything or nothing, you know? Like, how... That's still being deceitful by doling out little bits. But if that's their kind of healing properties, you can have a stab wound through your heart and heal yourself, then it's going to be difficult. You know what I mean? Logically, it doesn't work.
Those were logic gaps in the movie as well. And then we should mention the second... what are they called? Post-credit scene is his sister standing looking at the lake.
Well, there's a hut and there's some kids looking at the camera from the POV perspective, and I thought it was going to be Captain America.
Me too.
And they're like poking around at him, and then he kind of wakes and they run out and laugh, and his sister's like, you know, he's still bothering the White Wolf, I think they call him. And then somebody comes out with long hair out of the hut, beard, missing an arm. And he looks up, and it's Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
that's right.
On the nose.
Yeah, and they're like, "How you feeling, Sergeant Barnes?" And he's like, "It's Bucky." And he's like, "Better." And she's like, "Well, we've got a lot to teach you."
So, I think that told me nothing. Like, apart from the fact that they're showing that, Bucky's been reconfigured, I guess.
That's what
but other than that, I'm like, boo.
Well, I think in Infinity War, they're like, we need Bucky to fight alongside, and we don't have time to tell Captain America stories. You know what I mean?
And spoilers, I still think Cap's gonna die, so they need Bucky to come back and be prominent so he can take the mantle.
True, but last time we saw Bucky, he was like frozen. I'm pretty sure in like stasis.
Yeah, like stasis at.
While they figured out a way to kind of get him out of that programming that he had. So yeah, that's just shorthand to be like, Bucky's gonna be in the new one. He's gonna be one scene like, oh, we healed you, didn't we? Yes, we did. All right, let's get it on, and then fight.
Then like kiss.
Yeah, and then the kiss.
Him and Cap just kiss.
But let's go into what the repercussions of that is going to mean into Infinity War. So, in the trailer for Infinity War, you see Captain America, Black Panther, Hulk, Winter Soldier all running together in Wakanda.
It looks to be Wakanda, yeah.
Leading like an army. That looks cool.
Chris is with Ryan. Cap is super dead. Dude, contracts are running out. Is it like, if you think about it logistically from a business perspective, contracts are running out at Marvel. A lot of people had like 6-7 movie deals, and we're getting there now. The only one to have theirs extended is Robert Downey Jr. And I think he's having too much fun to like...
I think Chris Hemsworth's out as well. Thor.
You reckon Thor's done too?
Well, where they've taken him, there's not much more you can do.
Yeah.
Like, they're kind of changing everything up that he's not even Thor anymore. But yeah.
What?
Essentially.
Spoilers.
But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so there's that. But then there's also a scene in the trailer where... Tony Stark, like, there's this giant wheel and Spider-Man's on it, but in the Iron Spider costume. So I don't know the events of when things take, but from the way the trailer plays it out, Tony Stark takes his glasses off. He's standing in the street. Doctor Strange is with him. Bruce Banner's there as well, unhulked. So somehow Hulk gets to Wakanda, or because Thor.
Once again, I have not seen Thor Ragnarok, so I'm not sure. So where does Hulk and Thor end up at the end? Thor's with the Guardians. I know that much.
No, at the end, Thor is in a arc.
Well, there's a trailer that in a trailer he ends up with the Guardians.
So essentially, he's in an arc which contains the last remnants of Asgard.
Mm-hmm.
So 200 people. I don't know how many. Loki's with him. Korg, who's the funny New Zealand bodyguard guy. Banner's with him, and then in the post-credit scene. This Kree ship shows up, or this ship. You assume it's Thanos's, and then I think in the trailer for Infinity War, Thor's floating in space, so they must have blown up that ship, and Thor's left behind, and the Guardians pick him up. So that's where he's at. I guess Banner's left in space, somehow gets back to Earth.
Okay, so he's in that ship in the arc as well.
He's with them as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris said Thor is done. Thor is done. Hemsworth said he won't play Thor again. He's afraid of being typecast. Bit late, mate.
That's true.
I agree.
He said if there's a project that's interesting enough, he'll come back. And
you know, it would have been Thor Ragnarok, but like a gritty, like the end of days, not some fucking funny thing. So there's no reason I haven't watched it yet.
That's why I came back and did the funny one. So there's that. So how does Hulk get from, like, he not only does he get to New York with Tony Stark, but he gets to Wakanda with...
What we assume is New York.
And there's other things. There's set photos with the Ant-Man has like this watch thing on, and Tony Stark has another one as well. And there's footage of, because the worst Captain America costume is the Avengers one, where he just looked ridiculous. He's like this blue spandexy thing with the dome head. It just looked comic booky compared to everybody else, and his other iterations, buckles and things. I think like that.
He's original, like the one that
It's the closest they got. Tried to get to the comic books, but it looks silly.
Yeah.
But in the set photos, he's wearing that exact costume in like New York.
Because he doesn't have it. Like it's. Well, I think the end of 3 doesn't have it, does he?
I think no. Well, no. He's just got his. He doesn't even have his shield. It got broken. I'm pretty sure. Maybe.
Yeah, in Civil War, it got fucking smashed in half.
No, I don't think it got broken.
No, it does. Positive it does.
Really?
Positive.
It's smashed in like the visions from Age of Ultron.
Okay, there we go.
But anyway, point is that Beta Ray Bill, Thor character. But yeah, essentially, I think they might time travel back to the events of the Avengers and get like young Cool Cap, not like hardened Winter Soldier Cap. Or the Infinity Stones one's time and space.
One of them's time. Holy shit! What one is? Because it's the Mind Stone in Vision. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The Time Stone was used in Doctor Strange because he kept resetting time at the end.
Too.
So yeah, like essentially, I think they might go back in time. Maybe Cap dies and they need a younger Cap to help them, or maybe they like Cap's old and grizzled and shitty, and he's buddy with that Bucky Barnes dick, killed my dad and my mum. So we're gonna go back and get Cool Cap. Maybe that would be awesome.
Brad Taylor, how can I get one of these popcorn shirts? You head to thepopculturist.com/shop. If you look at the bottom of the image there will be the link. Probably come up very soon. There's little pictures of a cup and a shirt. And Jess put it there. It is literally right there. Fucking fantastic. Right there on there, as well as a couple of other different shirts that we wear as well.
That is true. But so there's some speculation. It's not long to wait.
Yeah,
May.
Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be massive.
Dude, I'm keen as shit for Infinity War.
I hope it's just like scene after scene after scene after scene, like Doctor Strange scene, followed by an Iron Man scene, followed by Captain America scene, followed by a Hulk scene, and it's just like awesomeness all the time.
Because having a look at that big ass crew photo, I was like, ooh.
But that's all of Marvel.
But that's huge though. Look, that's all the people that have been involved, and
that's true.
That's a very, very expensive photo.
It's just to get all these people off of what they're doing to come and sit around and take a photo. Yeah. So it's like, where's Wally? It's awesome. So yeah, Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee makes a cameo at the Korean casino. A lot happened in that Korean casino. I want to talk about that too. So in order to engage in a conversation with Martin Freeman, T'Challa puts money down on the board and goes, says something snarky and then leaves. And the guy's like, "Hey, you won." Stan Lee's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take all this for safekeeping."
Yeah, I'm just gonna hang on to this.
And straight up steals from the King of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Korean scene.
Okay, which part of it?
All of it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So like, it's the way it sets up. It's like it's sort of a back alley, behind closed doors, underground casino by the looks.
Yes.
And like it's just a very clear image when it walks on in, and like you sort of get that scope of the room. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then as Ulysses rocks up and his goons rock up, and the room just feels like, it's just about to go down.
Yeah.
And like it is an incredibly well shot fight. It was fun.
Like,
it was enjoyable. It was colourful.
Grease lightning, I think they call one of the people.
Yeah, one of them was grease lightning because they had greasy hair. And,
that's cool. Even at the start when he's like, these Grace Jones women are there at the door, but then they're both Wakandan, so it ruined the joke. I like that scene. I thought that was pretty cool. Like a lot of the fight choreography is pretty cool. Like especially when you actually see the actors, especially during the like king throne ship fights in the African water, and they're on the waterfalls, and they cut that all off. I mean, just the special effects. Like clearly, a lot of it is CGI. Like they're on green screens, just. Like there's a part where they're on the mountaintop. He's talking with his girlfriend after he discovers the truth about his family, and they're like on a green screen. I'm like watching birds go past and stuff. I'm like, they're not really there. They're not really doing that. So it'd be interesting to see how much was actually out in Africa. Like the shots on the African plains are all like aerial shots.
Because they did mention that with assistance from Kenya, some sort of production company in Kenya and Melbourne. Turns out Film Victoria played a role.
Some special effects, yeah.
But
the only time you really see, which I liked as well, when he went to his dream sequence, like his Lion King sequence, and he's talking to his dad, and it's like purple sky. And then when it was Michael B. Jordan's turn, he went into the hotel room, the apartment unit.
Where he grew up, which was apartment building.
And it was like the green purple sky outside.
But outside, yeah, very cool.
That was cool as well. And that scene with his dad, like what legacy did I leave behind? And you're not going to cry for me? And he's like, people die.
He's like, I've seen a lot of death,
and it switches between him being the boy and him being the man. That was really cool.
But speaking of the fights, though, like I want to give props to the female warriors. Period. I think they were really cool because they looked intimidating. Like when they're sitting there, they're doing like the like stomping that spear into the ground. It's like, fuck. And then the head, who's I think was it ukulele or something, just did say it.
The general.
Yeah, the general. She kicked ass, man. Like she's in like a dress with like because we know she's bald. So she has the big hair on, and she's standing there, and she's like, I don't want to, this is like a fucking idiot. And in the fight, she then uses the wig as a weapon, and then like proceeds to just kick a bunch of ass. It was really cool.
But even that's the thing. Not only is Black Panther an important...
Jess says, wait, so Killmonger and T'Challa are brothers in the film? No, they are cousins.
Yes.
You come to learn. Big spoiler, we come to learn that T'Chaka, when he was the king, the Black Panther, he went to speak to his brother, his younger brother in New York, I think
California.
it was. California, sorry. And he's talking to him, and they find out that he, in fact, ratted them out to Ulysses Claw, told them where Wakanda is, how to get in there, and as a result, Ulysses Claw blew it out. And there was a second character in that scene, which we come to learn is
Forrest Whitaker's
character. Essentially, there's a kerfuffle. He tries to shoot Forrest Whitaker's character. He gets fucking clawed through the chest, and that's the conflict that T'Challa deals with, knowing that T'Chaka killed his brother, and as a result, created Killmonger.
Yeah, that's right. And Killmonger is the son of the king's brother and a Native American woman, but not Native American, just a person who lives in America.
From America.
We don't see her. We don't know.
Brad says, any after credit stuff? Yeah, we mentioned a little bit earlier, man. Yes, there is the scene with Bucky Barnes, and there is a scene with T'Challa. Wait, no, was it T'Challa? Yeah, no, T'Challa. Addressing the UN and having a big spiel about how we as a world should come together.
Exactly, and
which makes sense. Come Thanos.
I think this movie, I mean, for a longest time, it was a race between DC and Marvel to have a female-led movie.
I got your joke, Jess. Don't worry about it.
A female-led movie and a African-American or African-led movie. But they'd already done it with Blade, of course. And Barbed Wire, that was a comic book movie.
Yeah, it's like, people seem to forget that Blade was, in fact, the first like African-American-led superhero movie.
Luke Cage now is a big one. Blade's awesome, and I'm sad Wesley Snipes didn't play the younger king. That would have been incredible.
There is when I was doing a bit of research before I came in here, and Wesley Snipes actually originally expressed interest in working on this film.
He ended up with Blade, but he wanted to do Black Panther, which would have been awesome. But yeah, like what it does for giving that audience of African people or colored people that kind of superhero to back behind, which is something I think they did when they created the Black Panther character in '66. To give them that kind of hero that they can look at and be like, that represents me, and I can see myself in that person. So to have that movie, I mean, they're trying to do the Cyborg movie, and Cyborg was cool in Justice League. I don't think and he's got a backstory.
Black Panther cool.
But yeah, Black Panther's more than just a superhero. It's the culture. It's the mindset. It's the lifestyle. It's the family. It's a whole lot of other things that are built upon it to create that world around him and all the people in his life, rather than just like this one guy and his dad.
Yeah, so jumping on with what Chris said. Chris, we kind of discussed this earlier. He goes, I'm going to see the movie, but I feel this is just a stepping stone to Infinity War. I disagree. This movie is not that at all. So it is quite a self-contained story with small references to the bigger universal story. But no, it is not really a stepping stone. It's very self-contained in a lovely way.
I think you could put it like, if they had Iron Man, Hulk, and Black Panther, they wouldn't have to change anything. Like, yes, it references Civil War slightly, but it's a standalone solo movie completely. And just take the final after credit scene out of Bucky Barnes. I don't think there's anything that at all that you'd need to know. You'd see flashbacks to his father dying, but you get the gist of it. They set it up on a news story, so you're like, okay, that happened. Like,
as in the same way, like as I said at the start, like it feels like this wave's, like it's the second wave's Guardians of the Galaxy. Brand new story, brand new characters. Because of the way it's written and where it's set, it is completely isolated from the overall universe story.
But more than just African characters, I think the biggest surprise and one of the best things about it is the way that it has the female characters as at the forefront, and strong female characters, and in different ways. Like, you know, the sisters, like, funny,
smart, strong.
That's right. And everybody is smart, strong. Even the general, who's like the grunt, is like smart and has a witty personality and is very focused and sure of herself. And his girlfriend, Lupita Nyong'o's character, she's really sure of herself. She's like a resistance fighter. Yeah, spy. And she's incredible. So when it gets to the end fight where the rhinoceroses are joining the battle, you know, sister's kicking ass, girlfriend's kicking ass, general's kicking ass.
Everyone holds their own.
You know, and there's the female army versus the male army.
There's never like a damsel in distress moment or anything like that.
Sister for a second.
Yeah, for a moment. Yes. The smallest moment.
Smallest
It's
moment.
because she, like, her weapons got destroyed in front of her. Yeah, so it wasn't more like a help me.
No, it wasn't like save Black Widow because she's been kidnapped in Age of Ultron kind of situation.
Yeah, it's not like the Black Widow like whole sub storyline like that garbage.
Like, and it's awesome, like fist pumping awesome, and there's a lot of like let's talk about the humor. What about laugh out loud moments?
Yeah, so like I don't think there's as much laugh by the sounds of it like Thor Ragnarok had, but it did have me laughing out loud a lot in the same way that. I've talked about this before. Like when we went and saw Civil War, I spent the first half going because it wasn't funny, it was boring, it was very straight, and I wasn't feeling it. Like is that I'm getting burnt out on Marvel movies, but this has brought me back. And then coming in with Paul Rudd, he brings his charm to, brings the funny, and brings it up, gives the light to it. And I'm like, all right. So like, I think without the laughs in this film, it would have had been a very political, boring story.
I mean, the sister provides a lot of comic relief, but even the Ape King guy was really funny, and like just his weird, normal, everyday call outs. Like they're having this deep, meaningful moment. The music's swelling. He's like, you know, you guys done? Like,
you done? I got shit to do.
Can you go away now? Or even where he's like, I'm like Martin Freeman's character's like gone to talking to them, and they're like, don't talk to me. You know, don't ever say a word again, or I'll feed you to my children. And he's like. We're just vegetarians, and then he proceeds to like laugh about it for like 30 seconds. Like that's hilarious. I like the extended laugh. That really.
One of the things really cool about that is that it feels. What I find a lot now in movies when they're trying to put humor in there, I think Justice League was very much this. It's clearly, hey, punchline, and there it is.
Yeah.
Where this felt like a lot more natural dialogue. And he's like, yeah, you know, like, oh, it features the kids. Nah, yeah, kidding. It's cool. Like,
that's good.
Because at no point did you feel that was going to be the punch. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like,
Yeah, it didn't feel like a joke, and then he makes a joke, and you're like, it's the relieving of tension kind of comedy, and situational comedy. Where
and the conversations between his sister and like T'Challa, it's just chill. You know, it's how like they're all very relaxed, and it's just kind of it's conversation. None of it ever felt out of place or forced.
But like you said, it does show another side to him. Like, he does have that fun side to him. But then he's got such the weight of the world responsibility on him. It's more of I don't think he gets joy out of being a superhero. Like, Spider-Man is like, I'm a superhero, I can do superhero things. Whereas he's very much like...
It's part of the job.
It's my responsibility, exactly. And I think, especially towards the end, the end's fight is, you know, like good guys versus bad guys. They set up with the train stuff. It was kind of a bonding moment between the sister and Martin Freeman about, you know, he was interested in the technology. She's like, oh, I'll tell you all about it. But when they're fighting on the train line, that was a bit of a CG shitstorm to me.
Yeah. At no point did it ever be like, oh, it's just kind of off-putting all this CG. Like,
but it was like they're on a train line that looks dumb. They're in a purple world of rocks, which looks dumb. They're both like CGI guys fighting, which looks dumb.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in the same way, when we worked on Justice League, we're like, man, that whole third act, there was like 40 minutes of fucking
That was
CG.
horrible. But you know what I mean? It's just like, the fight choreography of that didn't really... The tension of the trains coming, I didn't care for. Them falling off, I didn't really care for.
We'll jump back in the chat for a sec. So Jess has added, because we're speaking about DC before with Cyborg and having an African-American character. Because if DC do a movie along the lines of Black Panther, I think they should reboot Green Lantern with Jon Stewart. Chris agrees, and that'd be a great thing to look forward to. And Jess also adds, could not agree more that Jon Stewart is the best Green Lantern, and there is a little speck of hope that they'd bring in the relationship with Hawkgirl, like in the animated series.
That's why he's my Green Lantern, because I watched Justice League, the animated series, the Paul Dini, Alan Burnett, Bruce Timm ones, and he was my Green Lantern, Jon Stewart. He's cool.
See, my Green, like, because I jumped into DC Comics with Kevin Smith's Quiver Green Arrow run, and that was after, I think it was Hal Jordan that went apeshit and became like, what did he become? He like stole all the rings and went fucking
spectre-y
crazy.
kind of thing and killed everybody.
As a result, like, that's my first entry to Green Lantern. So sadly, I've got Super Hal Jordan as my Green Lantern.
Okay.
But
final thoughts?
Final thoughts. As I said, this movie is a good, you know, it's a common expression, but it's a good breath of fresh air. As someone that was very much getting burnt out on Marvel films, as I said, so burnt out that I didn't see Thor Ragnarok, even though with all the praise that it received, I just like, nah, I think I'm done. But this was a nice pump. Like, I don't think that this statement diminishes what this movie was trying to do, or I find it disrespectful, but I loved the charm of it being set in Africa. I loved the charm of them being this completely different culture to what I'm used to, what I'm used to seeing in a superhero film. And I think that gave it a new look. Like, because we're so used to seeing the same. They're not the same, but they're the same, but not the same. All the superhero movies, they're all very similar. Where this is just so stepped aside. As I mentioned, it's a very self-contained story, which led me to be like, okay, I can just absorb this and not have to think about other shit and remember other parts of movies. I can just enjoy it. I can relate. I can relate. I can enjoy. I can understand these characters. It's a really fucking good movie.
Well done. I think I don't know if it's like the greatest of Marvel movies. There's so many that have their things, but I think it's very much a good standalone movie where if someone's like, what's this superhero crap about? You can be like, here, watch Iron Man, watch Black Panther, watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Maybe Thor 1-ish. But you know, like a good standalone movie to say this is the character, this is what they're about. I guess, maybe. Yeah. But just like standalones, I mean, like this is the story of this character, this is the story of this character.
Doctor Strange maybe?
Doctor Strange, I haven't gone back and watched it again. I love his... Oh, you haven't seen it. As a scene in Thor Ragnarok with Doctor Strange is incredible. And if that was the first time you saw him, it would be amazing. Yeah. But you have seen him, it's still amazing. But you know what I mean? Like, it's a good standalone solo story. If someone told me it wasn't a Marvel movie, or, you know, in the superhero realm, or it wasn't somebody who was in... I didn't like somebody said this is the 18th movie. I'll be like, I'm not watching this. But you just said this is a movie. Watch it. It's good. I think the weakest part of it, and it wasn't weak, but it just was like, was the Black Panther stuff, the superhero stuff, the fighting. It's just like, all right, we're fighting. You know, you need fight scenes, but it never did anything incredible or interesting, or you know, he never even moved a certain way that was like, oh, cool. And I don't know, he didn't really look very catty. You know what I mean? Like, didn't have like enhanced smell or hearing or prowling. It was just kind of like,
because he's not the cat man, like he is.
no,
the black,
but he
know.
has like heightened senses, kind of like Wolverine. So
Yeah.
you know, he never like if he's out in the African plains hunting to practice or something, and you saw that kind of skill that he
Yeah,
had.
but see, but this is the benefit of of how Marvel are doing it by introducing characters and not being forced to do origin stories, because origin stories fucking suck. After, you know, all the superhero movies we've ever seen, origin movies are by far the worst.
Well, this kind of is and it
It
isn't.
is, but it isn't, because they've established who this character is in Civil War. So you're like,
True.
okay, it's Black Panther, he's T'Challa, the Black Panther is the mantle of the king. You're like, as in, so you're not left going, the Black Panther is the mantle of the king. Like, there's none of that like exposition shit, because they're like, hey, we'll touch on it, but we're not. You're not an idiot. We know that you have a rough idea of who.
And
this dude is.
I don't think that, like, in some sense, where Iron Man 2 has a lot of things that set up the future Black Widows in it and things like that kind of made it fail. I don't think Black Panther stood out of Civil War to be like, oh god, we're on the Black Panther story now. You know,
Yeah.
it kind of gelled well, so it's a good introduction to where he is now. But yeah, I'm excited. I like it. I thought it was really good. I think if you like the Marvel movies, this is definitely one to go and see at cinemas.
Without doubt.
Support it. Great message behind it. Strong African characters, strong female characters. Just a fun ride. Marvel's always a fun ride.
Yeah, and that's true. Like, I'm yet to like get super bummed out by a Marvel movie. Like, as in when I watch it, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. But I'm like, I'm just exhausted by 18 fucking Marvel movies at this point.
Still going strong.
Still going strong.
But keep in mind, if you like things being spoiled or you like what we've discussed here today, you can check us out every Friday for Popcorn Spoilers. And if you're interested in the Marvel Universe, we will be also spoiling Avengers Infinity War as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, so in the same way that we have today, we'll essentially be going straight to see Marvel's Infinity War, coming back to the studio, doing a live spoilers as well. So we'll be sure to note to let you guys know in advance. And lots of stuff. So Chris has added, I hope I'll like it more than Spider-Man Homecoming. It was boring.
Oh, yeah.
It was alright.
Oh, it was okay. It was good, but you've had a lot of Spider-Man in my life.
But of course, yes, if you like what you've seen here, you like what we do, be sure to subscribe and like and all those sort of things as well. We do a bunch of other things on here as well. We do have a PlayStation show every Monday. We talk about PlayStation games and all that sort of stuff, and we do live streams every Wednesday. 99% of the time, the games, but today it's about a movie. Those advanced screenings sneak their way in.
They certainly do.
Anyways, but you said the links are in the description for all social medias. Come join the Facebook group. Come converse about Black Panther there. And of course, if you want to put it all on your bodies and stuff, we have merch at popculturist.com/shop and a Patreon if you're feeling that extra bit kind.
And don't forget to tune in on Friday when we continue our road to the Oscars.
Yes.
This week we're discussing Phantom Thread and The Post.
This week it's all about those well-known people that you hear at Oscars all the time. Like you got Meryl Streep, you got Daniel Day-Lewis, you got Tom Hanks, all the known commodities. Like what are they? The big hitters.
Yes, the A-list talent.
Until then, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Dylan Bowden, and that is a wrap. Meow.
And put your mask back on.
Meow. 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 It's not as graceful as it was earlier.
Meow. Meow. Oh, that's the wrong button at all. Oh, God. What have I done? From Soul.